8 hidden signs to recognize a gay narcissist. Have you ever felt like you're living a nonsensical script? As if there's always something missing, an invisible piece in the puzzle of that narcissistic person's behavior you were involved with? Perhaps you've sensed that behind their facade of grandiosity and control lies a hidden vulnerability, something they desperately try to conceal, which deeply affects you. This is one of the secrets of a narcissist that few understand. Picture this. They present themselves as strong, confident, always having the right answers, embodying an unshakable image of masculinity. But behind the scenes, something feels off. The signs of a narcissist are present, yet often those affected fail to see them. Their words, gestures, and manipulative tactics may seem perfect, but inside you feel that something is amiss. That dissonance, that constant discomfort, can be the key to understanding the pain and confusion of those caught in a toxic relationship. Because yes, narcissism is a spectrum, and behind many of its manifestations lie complex defense mechanisms. One of the most hidden is repressed or denied sexuality. Yes, you heard that right. In some cases, you're facing a gay narcissist who conceals their true identity, crafting a double life to avoid showing who they really are. And it's this emotional manipulation that keeps you trapped in a difficult emotional dependency. Today, I will unveil the 8 hidden signs that can help you recognize if you're dealing with a closeted narcissist who lies not just to you, but first and foremost to themselves. Stay with me until the end, because the 8th sign is one that almost no one talks about and could open your eyes. But first ask yourself, why do I feel the need to uncover this truth? What would change in my life if I knew who this person truly is? Remember, true power lies not in changing those who manipulate you, but in choosing to free yourself and choose yourself. If you're watching this video out of mere curiosity, without any real intention to change, don't subscribe to this channel. Here we take action, not remain stagnant. However, if you feel it's time to say enough, write it in the comments. Yes, I am here. And let us know where you're listening from. Exaggerated hypermasculine or hyperfeminine behaviors. Many narcissists who hide their true sexuality tend to overplay traditional gender roles. What does this mean? It means that a narcissist who represses or hides part of their sexual orientation may feel compelled to exaggerate their masculinity or femininity. It's as if their mind is telling them, if I behave this way, no one will suspect who I really am or what I feel deep down. For this reason, they may become obsessively macho, boasting about their conquests, flaunting their supposed sexual performances, or criticizing anyone who doesn't fit their rigid vision of what it means to be a man or a woman. Likewise, if the woman is a narcissist, she may exaggerate her femininity, constantly seeking approval from men, hypersexualizing her image, or despising other women who don't fit her ideal. Have you ever wondered why that person tries so hard to prove who she is? Have you ever felt uncomfortable noticing that something in her behavior seems forced, as if she were acting out a role? This is one of the most obvious clues, because when someone needs to so insistently demonstrate their sexual or gender identity, instead of living it naturally, it's very likely that they're hiding something inside. And the most painful thing is that many times these exaggerated performances serve not only to protect themselves, but also to control and manipulate those around them. Homophobic or transphobic jokes or comments. Another telltale sign of narcissists who hide their sexuality is a tendency to make homophobic or transphobic jokes or comments. These aren't always obvious or direct. Sometimes they're subtle, ironic jokes, presented as harmless jokes. But behind those words lies a deep internal conflict. The narcissist who represses or fears their sexuality projects the discomfort they feel within themselves. Thus, they distance themselves from what they fear or desire, scorning or ridiculing those who freely live their identity. Have you ever wondered why someone should care so much about other people's sexuality? Why so insistently judge something that in theory doesn't concern them? Often, those who forcefully reject something are actually running away from themselves. 3. Excessive emotional slings. Another sign that you're dealing with a narcissist hiding their sexuality is their extreme emotional swings. One moment, they appear charming, magnetic, engaging. And the next, they become cold, detached, almost unrecognizable. These swings aren't just a part of their personality. They reflect a deep internal struggle, a silent war between the image they want to project and the reality they try to hide. The narcissist lives in constant tension between who they believe they should be and who they truly are. Sooner or later, this tension explodes into inconsistent and destabilizing behavior for those around them. Perhaps you've never known which version of them you'd encounter, the seductive and charismatic one, or the cold and distant one. This emotional instability consumes you, leaving you feeling drained, and at the same time allows them to maintain control, to confuse you, to make you doubt your own perceptions. Why do you think, despite their affectionate gestures, do you always feel on edge? Why can't you ever truly relax around them? Their emotional swings don't just speak volumes about you. They reveal a lot about what they're desperately trying to hide inside themselves. 4. When everything becomes secret. Another obvious sign that can reveal a narcissist hiding their sexuality is their obsession with secrecy. These people tend to compartmentalize their lives in an almost obsessive way. There are areas, topics, or moments they never discuss. They're overprotective with their phones, social media, and their whereabouts. And a simple question is enough to make them change the subject, stiffen, or accuse the other person of being intrusive. But this secrecy isn't born out of a desire for normal privacy. It's about protecting at all costs a part of themselves they absolutely don't want to come to light. Perhaps you've ever felt this distance, this feeling of being excluded from entire parts of the other person's life. Maybe you felt there were things you simply couldn't talk about, places, people, or experiences that always remained out of your reach. This barrier isn't accidental. It's built to keep the truth hidden, because those who keep such a great secret need to create walls, masks, and silences. And sometimes, those very silences say much more than 1,000 words. 5. A past shrouded in mystery. A very revealing sign of narcissists hiding their sexuality is the way they talk, or rather don't talk, about their past relationships. When you ask about their romantic history, their answers become vague, confusing, full of missing or contradictory details. They often tell stories that don't add up, avoid direct questions, or simply respond with phrases like, "It doesn't matter," "It's water under the bridge," or "It's not something I like to talk about." This ambiguity is never accidental. It serves to protect those shadowy areas they don't want to share, relationships that could reveal their true sexual identity, experiences they prefer to deny, or moments of intimacy they try to erase from their memory. Perhaps you've also felt this sense of emptiness, a lack of authenticity, a past that always seems like slippery slope, full of silences and half-truths. For those who repress a part of themselves, the past becomes a minefield to be hidden, an uncomfortable territory that must remain buried. 6. When the focus becomes your sexuality. Another subtle but highly revealing sign of narcissists hiding their sexuality is a disproportionate interest in your sexuality. You may notice that this person seems obsessed with knowing the details of your intimate life, your past experiences, your preferences, or your limitations. But this isn't simply a healthy curiosity or a genuine desire for intimacy. This is a hidden form of control. The narcissist often projects their own internal conflicts onto others, and your sexuality becomes a platform for venting their fears, insecurities, or repressed desires. They may judge your experiences, criticize your past, or pressure you into behaviors and confessions that make you uncomfortable. In some cases, it can even make you feel wrong or inappropriate for what you've experienced or desired. Perhaps you've noticed how focused that person was on who you are sexually, on every detail, while simultaneously keeping huge secrets about themselves. This excessive interest doesn't speak of love or authentic connection. It's just a way to divert attention from themselves, shift it to you, and maintain control by fueling confusion. Because behind this dynamic often lies an identity that cannot be revealed. 7. When nothing is ever enough. A deep and constant sexual dissatisfaction. No matter how much sex they have or who they have it with. For the narcissist who hides their sexuality, nothing is ever enough. On the surface, they may seem to always be searching for new experiences, new partners, new forms of pleasure. But behind this constant rush lies an unfillable void. Because the problem isn't outside, it's not the partner, it's not the external situation. The real conflict is within them. It's the internal rift between who they really are and who they feel compelled to be to keep their mask intact. This leads them to experience sexuality as a performance, a duty, or a weapon of power. But true connection is always missing, authenticity is missing, that profound pleasure that only comes when you are fully yourself. Perhaps you've also experienced that strange sensation, that unfillable void, in moments of apparent intimacy. That feeling of them being distant, absent, as if they were somewhere else, even when they were there with you. This dissatisfaction isn't about you. It's not about your value or what you're capable of giving. It's about a soul that doesn't accept itself, a broken identity, a script they keep reciting, without ever truly recognizing themselves. But before I reveal the sign you might not expect, which could truly open your eyes to that person and what you're experiencing, I want to take a moment to thank you. If this video is helping you see more clearly, if you feel it's giving you tools to understand and perhaps even choose yourself, you can support us with a small donation. For you, it's a simple gesture, but for us, it means knowing we're on the right path, that what we're doing is useful to those who follow us. The donation link is in the description. Even a small contribution makes a difference. Thank you so much for being part of this space and for the time you're dedicating to yourself. And now let's move on, because the next signal could change everything. 8. Homosexual experiences denied or minimized. Last but not least, this is probably one of the most subtle and least mentioned signs, but also one of the most revealing. Many narcissists who hide their sexuality have had homosexual episodes or experiences in the past that they choose to deny, minimize, or completely erase from their memory. It's not about having had homosexual experiences per se, because experiencing any kind of experience is part of human freedom and is never a problem. The key here is the denial, rejection, and contempt for those experiences, precisely because they represent a direct threat to the fragile identity the narcissist has constructed. This person may have experienced relationships where moments of intimacy with people of the same sex, and then dismissed them with statements like, "It was just a phase," or "It didn't mean anything," or "It was a joke, a child's thing." They may also react annoyed or even furious if anyone refers to these episodes, even jokingly, where they may tell contradictory versions, full of gaps, avoiding details, or changing the story over time. Perhaps you felt that profound unease, that unmotivated annoyance, every time certain topics are even touched upon. Why, instead of serenely accepting what happened, is there a need to deny it, ridicule it, or bury it under an avalanche of excuses? Because the narcissist who represses his sexuality sees these experiences as a threat to his false self, to the mask of virility, perfection, or control has constructed to present himself to the world. And so, instead of accepting and integrating those parts of himself, he chooses repression. And those close to him, perhaps sensing this fracture, but unable to name it, end up getting lost in his contradictions. Now that you're aware of these signs, I want to leave you with an important question. How many of these signs have you observed in the person who hurt you? How many of these behaviors have confused you, leading you to question your perception, your truth, your feelings? And most importantly, how many times have you tried to justify what you saw and felt instead of protecting yourself? Remember, the awakening starts right here. From this moment on, the truth is in your hands. It doesn't matter who they are. It doesn't matter how many masks they wear or how many games they play. What matters is who you choose to be. What matters is the choice to face reality and firmly say, "I choose myself," because you deserve an authentic life. A life where you no longer have to lose yourself in the secrets of others. A life where your peace, happiness, and love for yourself finally take center stage. If you want to continue this journey and receive practical tools to free yourself from toxic relationships and all forms of emotional manipulation, subscribe now to Chosen One's Awakening. And if you'd like, join our Telegram community. You'll find everything in the description. I embrace you and look forward to seeing you in the next video.